Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are doing well. We are here for a little bit of a unscheduled review, a little late one actually. In fact, now these Undead Unluck figures, I initially skipped out on them. I just was not interested. I didn't necessarily have any feelings towards the show that came out recently. I have heard good things about the manga, but it just wasn't something that was in my purview at the time. Now, I did give the anime a chance, and let me say, it deserves better. All right. The promotion it received was very minimal. And for the one time that I saw it on my carousel during Disney Plus or Hulu, whatever, it didn't hit me, right? So when I finally gave it a chance, it was one of the best experiences I've had in a while because the anime, just the series in general, the relationship between Fuko and Andy is quite interesting. It's very not random, but it's very different. It's not normal, but very much an interesting show that I think everybody should give a chance. If not, check the manga out. Right now, season one is over, but from whatever everything I've seen so far, it just has me hyped, and I am actually kicking myself in the butt so freaking hard for initially skipping out on these figures. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what is the shirtless Andy doing here? That actually came to me randomly while I was just messing around with these Romanki X cow bodies. So I only have this one, and lo and behold, the pegs for the waist are the same size. So you can put this torso piece of Andy onto this body with the legs, and they actually will have the same height. Right now it's taller as a figure overall, but I still think it looks good on him just because of the physique. But when you combine them together, it looks so freaking cool. And I think right now, with the line only having Fuko and Andy, it's a little hard to really showcase their abilities, right? Just as a premise, Fuko has this ability of unluck, and it's crazy. It's freaking strong as hell. And Andy basically can't die, but it's hard to really showcase those abilities with these two figures because they come with so little. But what's crazy about them is that the articulation is actually really freaking good. And that I think was overlooked by a lot of people because obviously a lot of people just haven't checked out the series. And the promotion for the figures, I mean, it kind of just came and went, and the figures are out. And they're, for the most part, closer to their retail price, but you can find them for under. I will not lie to you. I did go and get the cheapest, price I could get them for, and I'm listen. I wanted them that bad, but I didn't necessarily feel like paying the full price, and I can understand why people would feel like that in general. But they do have really good articulation. They needed a little bit more, especially Andy. At least give him some more blood effects. That effect he has on his finger is cool, but it's not necessarily enough. And I mean, I guess they gave him the swappable arms, and they gave him a sword, but he needs more. And this is one thing that I would like to see in the future, at least for this particular line, is maybe some more of the union members. I think that at least could hold its own, as a lot of them are unique for the most part in their abilities, and some of them have a little bit more cooler designs. Or, they could do some of the other members. Again, I don't want to spoil too much in case you're checking it out for the first time, but there are some very cool and interesting characters that do appear in the series and various abilities. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But anywho, let's get back at the topic. I know I've ranted a little bit, not ranted. I know I've yapped on a little bit, but let's just showcase the figures really quick. So this is not a conventional review like I usually do, and that's more or less just because, again, these figures have been out for a while. The articulation scheme is more or less always the same, but we are going to give them their compliments and their dues here. So Andy, he's got very nice expressive heads, and actually I was very shocked to see that they gave him 4 different heads instead of faceplates. So that's interesting to me that they spent the time to do that, and maybe they just wanted to keep the details with the hair and not have a whole bunch of seams like that, but still, looks great. The actual material here is, soft plastic, but it's not, the most flexible thing in the world. it's all right, but it's not a hindrance really to him at all. Now, this effect here is his sword that he stores in his arm, and sometimes he stores it actually in his back, depending on the situation. Because obviously, like I said, he feels pain, but he doesn't necessarily really care for it anymore. So, I mean, he just kind of does whatever. But yeah, so let's do this really quick. Let me straighten his arms out, get him back into formation, and you know, he's got a pretty good, decent extension on that butterfly joint. Pretty decent. Can get, well, that, you know, that arm, I have to change it back, but can get almost across all the way. You know, not too bad. Obviously can get into the T-pose pretty easily. And I always thought this was interesting when they initially showed it with the articulation here for the actual, you know, elbow arm, being that he's in a suit, but it's not really a suit. Again, another thing that's pretty interesting and random, but cool at the same time in the show. He has really good arm articulation, right? And I do think Tamashii is just getting overall better with their suited characters, and I continuously will enjoy seeing them continue to improve in that area. As for the ab crunch, it is actually a lot better than you probably would think, and I'm all for it. This material right here in the middle, it's not even soft plastic like how Sanji and some other various characters, like I think the Jujutsu Kaisen stuff. This is just pure hard plastic, and he's just got a really good ab crunch. Gotta give him credit where it's due. Again, not what I was expecting when I got this figure. I really just got it because I wanted to have the representation of them in my collection, but again, they superseded my expectations in terms of playability. So yeah, all praise there. As usual, the legs are always pretty good and kick up pretty much. Got a little bit, yeah, a good extension on the legs there and the knee. And then the foot articulation, even with the, you know, cuffs here at the bottom of the pants, pretty good. So like I said, overall, a great figure for the beginning of this line. And they do have their own page on Tamashii Web, on their website. And I would hope that that's a good sign for the future, that maybe they can get other stuff. I really just think that depends on, again, how well they sold. Because the anime alone, I don't know if they're just willing to promote and make more figures like that. We'll have to see. Really quickly, I'll give Fuko here a quick glance and review. She is awesome as well. I do wish they would have just given her bicep swivel, but, you know, let me see actually. Can she get into a full two-handed pose here without struggling? Because she does hold a gun majority of the time after a certain part of the season. So, kinda. Maybe could get there, but, you know, could be a little bit better. But I'm sure you could kind of finagle it. I don't know why I use that word. I'm sure you could try to get it a little bit closer so she could hold a gun, but she doesn't even have gun holding hands. So, I mean, I guess they don't really care. Again, maybe when we get another one, hopefully in the future, if the line can come back, make more figures, they can do another one that's in a different outfit. But yeah, so far, so good. All of the expressions on both of them are great, especially her. I don't know what else I would have asked for her expressions layout, but so far they really represent, I think, the style of the show and the drawings, you know, the manga. Ab crunch, you know, it could be better, but I think it's all right. Not the worst thing, and definitely better than some other people that we have seen in the line. And you can see there, she does have this skirt piece that's all soft plastic. It's got slits in it, which thank God, because I know that they've been kind of up and down with what they do when it comes to that. The legs, though, she does have, you know, the standard, you know, what we call, I guess, 3.0 legs. And she can get into some pretty good poses. I do think she probably could get a little bit better in here, but I don't want to push it too far. But pretty good overall, not the worst. She does have double jointed knees, but they look like kind of weird. But still, pretty good stuff. And then you got your thigh swivel, and then I think she could get a little bit better ankle, but again, for the most part, for the first two figures in the line, it ain't the worst thing, and is definitely a very posable and fun action figure to have. Now, Jesus, I just bumped into my camera for like the 20th time today. Sorry. Anyways, Undead Andy, Kit Bash. So here is the problem with this figure in particular, right? One, the skin tone of this Romanki X Cow body does not match the heads on this body. That problem may be solvable. There's two other versions. So there's like the white body, there's like a yellowish body, and then like I think they say yellow, but I think it's more like tan-ish. And they have black skin. So you have options, and I think maybe the other version of this, the more tanned looking one, might be better. But this is just the copy that I had gotten from 5K Toys at the time. Now, lucky enough that somebody had asked if I could do a review on this because, funny enough, Romanki X Cal on their Instagram announced that they were going to open pre-orders for this and the other two bodies again, as well as the female variants. So I think you'll have a good time getting those because, you know, these are some really posable action figures. Like, I've been thoroughly shocked at what these guys can do. I will say, you know, if you've watched the show, you know Andy typically doesn't care for clothes. He really, he really doesn't. Like these pants, if they disintegrated, he could not care, right? And you know, I'm just gonna take them off really quick. Don't get weird in the comments, guys. Anyways, so primarily he is naked like a lot of the time when his clothes kind of just get torn off, and he does have like a sensor bar there. So technically speaking, you know, the figure is accurate if you just had it like this and then put his tattoos and scar. It literally is. There's nothing you need to do to this body except make the tattoo and put the scar on his chest. So yeah, but very quickly, I will also show, I do want to show this too really quick while I have it. So you, as I said before, he does usually stash his sword like just on his back, like literally he'll pierce his skin and stab it in his back. And I need to, there we go, open up some space. There we go. That almost took longer than it needed to. So he literally does that. But yeah, let me swap these out really quick, and then I'll show you how they look kind of side by side, and then we'll close the video off. Really quick, admittedly, I will say you do have to put just a tad of pressure in there. I mean, he's got, you know, his little V cut right there, but you do have to push it a little bit to get it in there. But again, the pegs are the exact same, and I only say have to push it in because it is deeper in there. Pause. But yeah, I'll do that really quick and then we'll take a look. All right, so we've got both of them set up here. I'm sure you guys can pick which one you like the best out of these two. Obviously, the one with the Romanki legs looks a lot worse just because of that big gap, but I do think it provides a lot more open possibilities for your photos if you're doing that, maybe stop motions, whatever, because it is easier to disassemble the Romanki body than it is the SH Figuarts, and I feel like there's less risk involved with breaking it than there is with the SHF. Because again, it's a lot of the parts are sealed so tightly, and I mean, you can do the hot water method, but sometimes they click back on and sometimes they aren't as strong as they were before. I mean, the Fuko, she does have a little bit of shaky legs syndrome, you know, like some of the figures that they have, but it's not prominent to the point that it's like so noticeable, at least. But her legs do hold up, so I don't have necessarily an issue with her. But again, I think it's easier to just manipulate the, you know, parts on here. And I'll throw some photos up that I was messing with, just kind of trying to recreate some basic poses from it, from the anime, without having to put all the effects and whatnot on top of it to make it look really good. But if you've watched it, you can tell what it's referencing, right? So yeah, I mean, I definitely think if you have a chance to get, you know, any of the Romanki X Cal bodies, go for it. They're doing a lot of other stuff too, like I think they were doing some Cyberpunk Edge Runners girl. I forgot what the name is because I haven't watched that show yet. They also are doing an even muscular looking body, like, I mean, like even more yoked out their mind body. And they are, again, reissuing the male bodies as well as the female bodies that they did already. So if you have a chance to do that and go grab one, I would do it. I would pre-order. 5K Toys said that they'll have stock, or not stock, pre-orders of it. This should be today at this point, while this video is alive. So go for it, go pre-order. If you have the Undead Unluck figures, let me know what your experience is with them. Do you like the show, etc., etc., etc.? And if you haven't seen the show, if you haven't read the manga, give it a chance. Like, give the anime at least like 3 episodes, maybe 4, and you might be captivated. It's very much a weird intro, but it gets even weirder, but better. It's not Don to Don weird though. Okay, it's not Don to Don weird, but it's weird. So enjoy it. But yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. It may be something third party related. I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to figure out details and stuff like that first before I just make a video about it. But yeah, do check the community tab. That's where all the news goes. And have a good one. Peace.